and that goes away pretty quick.
Pretty quick.
So yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you in the slightest.
You know what else I don't blame you for?
What's that?
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Pixel. My name is Kevin. With me, as always, is Phil. On today's show, we're talking about, what are we talking about?
We're talking about King's Quest. Kingdom of Sorrow.
Kingdom of Sorrow. Yeah, you know what's funny is you sent me 2 PDFs, and I was like, started reading it, and I was like, done. And I was like, oh shit, did I read the right one?
Did you seriously? Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, no, it was the right one. I read Kingdom of Sorrow.
Good,
but
good.
I was like, but I needed to go back and make sure.
Like, wait a goddamn minute.
Okay. So yeah, King's Quest, Kingdom of Sorrow. So King's Quest was a point and click, or not only point and click. It started out as a parser graphic adventure back in the 80s by Sierra Online, and it followed the adventures of your son.
Yes. The Noble King Graham.
The Noble King Graham. And we've this is our second King's Quest book. The first one was followed Graham as, he found a kingdom, a castle in the sky. And
it's like his son. It's Alexander.
Was it Alexander?
It's
That's
Alexander.
Right. Okay, so Alexander. So the first one we read took place in the future from what this one is.
Yes, this one would be a prequel to the first one. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe that explains why this one is so much better than that one. I don't know.
Or the new author. Like this is
the new author.
This is different author from the other one. Yeah. That's my guess.
Yeah. And who is the author? Kenyon
the author
Moore.
is Kenyon Moore. There were 3 King's Quest books that were written, and Kenyon Moore wrote number 2 and number 3. When I did some research to find out who Kenyon Moore was, I didn't find anything aside from the King's Quest books, and that's because Kenyon Moore is the pen name of one Morella Sands. She is I believe, a Midwestern author. She does a lot of urban fantasy, some horror in there, that kind of thing. A lot of from the looks of it, a lot of self-published stuff and everything like that these days. But she's still working. Like her latest book came out last year. So she's keeping up. So she's got this one multi-part series. I believe she's on the 5th book called The New Confederacy, and it's an alternate history book where the Civil War ended with both sides going their separate ways and becoming new countries, and it's like the modern day. They're trying to come together, and you're following like spies, I guess, like people who are on both sides trying to brook some sort of peace deal or something like that, which I mean, and that's the thing, that could go really, really great, and that could go really bad too. So
yeah, it could go really bad. I find it interesting that kind of the impetus is that so Lincoln loses re-election is the concept behind it, because it's called the McClellan-Davis Accord. So for those of you who don't know, George McClellan was a former Union general who then became an anti-war guy. He was like, so I believe McClellan was the first general in charge of the Army of the Potomac.
I think so.
He was he was in charge. He was the one who got absolutely housed at the beginning of the Civil War, and it was like early on when Lincoln is like having to sack and swap generals out like left and right because they're not taking it fucking seriously.
Right.
So McClellan was one of them. He runs as an anti-war presidential candidate in 1964, and obviously
1964.
1964. 19.
Well, it would that would have to be like 1864, right?
No, 1864.
That was
1964.
It's like, God damn, he had some staying power.
Yeah, he was a long-lived man. Actually, I have no idea how long he lived, but still, yeah, he ran as an anti-war candidate, loses to Lincoln, and Lincoln, continues the war and sees it through. Whereas Ed McClellan won the presidency, he would have been like, great, we're just going to be two separate countries.
Right.
Good to be done, and
Yeah.
and moving on. So
so it's an interesting way to. It's an interesting inciting incident. Basically, it's usually when you see those, it's like the Confederacy fought and won somehow or something like that. So this kind of obscure bit of history. It's kind of impressive that that's the impetus for it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our author. I'm just looking at the name of the titles. They're all P words.
Perdition,
purgatory, perfection, perpetuity.
Pot smoker. That's weird. I don't know what that has to do with anything. Morella.
Oh God. Perpetuity, by the way, was a made-up word that we made up for something we wrote called Decodia.
Perpetuity. I forget sometimes that isn't a real word. We began to use that word so frequently.
It sounds like I believe that it's like it goes right in there with decoded. It might as well be a real word.
Might as well be a real word.
Perpetuity.
For perpetuity. I like it.
But you know what else I like is a website called patreon.com/pixelitpod where you could follow us for free on there. It's basically our de facto blog that you can go to. And you can follow us, join for free, and you get early access to episodes if you're following us for free on there. $1 gets you access to some paywalled blogs. $5 gets you ad-free episodes, and also ad-free episodes. I'm trying to remember what $5.
You get stuff. It's
$5 gets you ad-free episodes and the bonus content that we record before every episode, and $10 a month gets you shouted out at the beginning of every episode. Woo. So to that end, I want to shout out Jesus Loves You, Kyle Seaman, Ruthless Mutter, Middle of Things, Sigma Sal, Chet Beaks, Demith, Thick, and Friendly Friends. Thank you for being a friend. So woo-hoo. What do you say we go ahead and put the body in the marsh?
Put the bodies in the marsh. Put the bodies in the marsh.
Read books.
This ain't reality TV.
Okay.
Give a body. Read a book.
Give a body. Read a book. It's gonna be you know what? That's what we need to do. That's a merch idea. We need to do Pixelit branded book it stuff, like the old Pizza Hut thing. That's absolutely
and we'll have the owl instead of the Give a Hoot owl. Just like dropping a body in the marsh from its talent.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's perfect. If we got any visual artists out there, please help us. That would be amazing. Okay, so we start with I've gone back and forth on how to pronounce this. Ahiorina, who is she is a fairy. She is the queen of the Old Wood, and Old Wood is capitalized, so you know that it's important.
It is a proper name.
Exactly. Right off the bat, I feel like it's a good start because we actually feel like it's literally fairy tale inspired. So I was pretty happy. You just look at it and you're like, okay, they're gonna go all Midsummer Night's Dream on my ass. Like this will be fun. You get like her court and all that stuff, and one in particular who is holding a jonquil. And I know what you're thinking. I know where you're coming at from. At this point, I can feel your mental hunger. What the fuck is a jonquil? It's a yellow flower. Okay. It is a flower.
I was wondering about that. I didn't look it up, but it sounded like I don't know why I thought jonquil was like. Is it like a carriage that you are bandied about in? It's like the king sat upon his jonquil.
His
his servants dragged him ass first into the street.
Well, based on the context, I thought it was like a scepter or even like one of those eggs that you see in medieval paintings with the cross on it, that they're holding, that kind of shit. They are approached by an imp who basically just shows up unannounced and wants to. He's being real shady, basically, and they know something wrong is going on, and before they can respond to him, a whole bunch of fucking imps come out of the woods and just start firing, and we get dead fairies, man. We get like dead fairies galore getting shot down by these imps. I don't know exactly what an imp in this world is. I mean, I've always took it as a demon kind of thing.
Sure.
So that's an interesting combination, demons versus fairies. But basically, the head imp, Kuzgu, takes a yellow flower that he'd offered her before and smacks her in the face with the flower, and we get a kind of moment, and the powder from the flower basically knocks the queen out, and that is how the chapter ends.
It's a real Joker maneuver.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah, love that Joker.
It's the Joker with the jonquil.
Yes. The Joker with the jonquil.
The jonkler.
That's gotta be a new like FM radio style thing. Hey, it's the Joker with the jonquil here on 88.6.
Here on 88.6.
And playing all the 90s favorites from 1996 to 1997. That's all just that year. Don't ask for more.
I don't
and there's
for love to be over. I want to know right now what will it be?
You get a little whip crack sound effect. Oh, yeah.
Can you move your mic back like 1 inch? By the way, you're
too loud. I'm too powerful.
Too powerful. You're toasting that little thing inside there.
Poor thing. So chapter 2 opens up, and we meet for the first time in this book King Graham of Daventry. And right now, what he is doing is he's got a kid there who it's his 10th birthday. It feels kind of like a Make-A-Wish Foundation kind of thing. He's got this. It's
this kid that's not his son.
Yeah,
it's the son of the seneschal, right?
The seneschal, and the seneschal is the person who kind of like runs the comings and goings of a castle.
By the way, one of my favorites, like court position words, seneschal.
Seneschal's a great word.
And there's actually one of my favorite characters in Rogue Trader, Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader CRPG came out last year. His title is a seneschal.
What's his face? Your right hand man guy.
Yeah, right hand man. Is the seneschal.
He's an excellent character. So it's the son of the seneschal, and he's like, the kid has always wanted to see the view from like the top of the parapets.
Yeah.
But they try to keep the kids off there because like one false step and you're splattered on the rocks below. And they figure it's his 10th birthday, and Graham's gonna be there, so whatever. And this is where we find out that Graham's own son, Alexander, has been missing for 10 years, that he got snatched away shortly after his birth. And Graham has no idea where he is. So he's getting real paternal. Like that's what this is about. He's sad and paternal.
This is my boy. This is my boy. And you're like, no, this is the seneschal's boy.
No, that's the seneschal's boy. Get Graham, step away from the boy. Yeah. Real Jack Nicholson, The Departed, just gathering sons to him from every direction. We get to meet Queen Valanice, his super hot wife, who Kevin and I we were discussing this.
Yeah, we will hear how hot she is in a chapter or two.
Yeah, her hotness factors into gameplay mechanics.
It solves the puzzle.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, her hotness solves a puzzle for her alone, but still.
It's actually like her hotness is an item in her inventory.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing as her and you're like use hotness on, but then it always works. That's the thing.
I think it would be a right click thing where it's like you've got talk, touch, smell, hot.
Hot.
And you say, do I use hot? And that's the easy mode. You use hot to like
Use
unlock
hot,
anything.
and it works. You know?
Oh, that's a great idea. And then you get an achievement if all you used the entire
The entire game is hot.
I love it.
Or at least try. Yeah, this is. I mean, Phil and I are destined to make a point-and-click adventure at some point in our lives. And
really
I
need to.
feel like that would be a real good mechanic.
Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious. Are you kidding me? I'd love that. So that's what we get there. And we are to know that it is early spring in Daventry, which is a very mild place to live. But they mention briefly like some cold winds that have come in a little bit. But when they go outside at the end of the chapter, they see that the whole courtyard has just been covered in snow. So something's up with the weather. Let's see. So we get to chapter 3. Almost as if on cue, we get a member of the fairy court coming in, basically extending an invitation to Graham to talk with the king of the old wood.
It's an elk rider.
An elk rider, which is really neat. That's pretty cool.
So it's just a fairy dude on the back of an elk. Just like riding right into the king place. The king's court. King's court. There we go.
The king's court. The king's court.
The room where the king sits.
where the king holds
the
court.
Throne room. Anyway,
the courtroom. Anyway.
Courtroom. Chung chung.
So.
In the world of King's Quest. Continue.
Oh my God. Law and Order, King's Quest, Law and Order Daventry.
Law and Order Daventry.
Oh, where's that game?
Where
I want to
is
make that game.
Do we have any connections to the Williamses? Do they own King's Quest still?
I think so. I do know. I do have a connection with Al Lowe.
Al Lowe could probably get you.
Who could probably get me a connection there? Yeah, so I interviewed
probably get
him.
your Roberta's phone number.
So yeah, exactly. He's still got that one on speed dial. Oh, Al, the master of dirty dad jokes.
Yep.
Oh boy. So we get kind of a bit of a background on the Fae in this world. Basically, it's actually very similarly played to like Gaelic and Celtic Fae, where it's like they don't necessarily always mean harm, but you shouldn't trust them.
Sure.
So Graham is not thrilled about the idea of following this elk rider into these woods that are filled with fairies, but he's also got a suspicion he doesn't have much of a choice, because basically he suspects that this has something to do with the snowing situation.
It's spring. It's supposed to be spring, and they are buried in snow.
Yeah, people will die. People will starve.
Yeah.
It's not cute. It's not a cute look.
It's not a cute look.
It's not a cute look. Yeah.
Graham looked right into the camera and said, "I do not like this for us."
No, exactly. We come to, which one's this? Chapter 4. They're leaving the court. We get this funny moment because the difference between Graham and Valanice is basically that Graham is like of the people. He's the rural guy. He's the W. Like he wants to sit out back and have a beer with you.
He's like, I'll have a beer with you.
I'll have a beer with you. Hey, welcome to Daventry. This is that guy.
And then somebody throws a shoe at him.
Yeah, exactly. Rightfully so. Yeah. And Valanice is like, she was raised in the courts and the royal world, and so we get a lot of ribbing of like all the official "the king has left the courtyard" kind of stuff that gets declared, and and Graham is like rolling his eyes, and she's like, "Oh, you love it.
You love this.
You love it." So Graham has got to get ready for his adventure. We've talked a lot on this show about weapons porn.
Yes.
We've talked about world building porn, all kinds of little porn moments of like just paragraphs of what the person is wearing or something specialized to get the people all hot and bothered. We get what I can only call clothing porn here. We get all the details of what Graham is putting on. Like we get to know his pants, and he takes out some shirts, and he got out a second pair of pants because you never know, and he's got some socks, and just because you're walking on your feet, you need socks. Don't wear wet socks, kids.
Don't wear wet socks. Let me tell you, socks. The most important thing if you're going to be walking for a long time cross country. Socks and shoes. You're gonna burn through your shoes,
Oh yeah. Take care of those because they take care of your feet. We find out about we get all the details about this wool jerkin he's wearing and what kind of wool it is and how it's dyed and all that.
Talks about the sheep and
were they well treated? It's a whole thing. So we get a lot of that, and it just cracked me up. Again, at this point, I'm still really very pleased because this feels very King's Quest. There's a big focus on kind of the mundane here that you might not see in other games or in other books based on games. Mm-hmm. So he heads out to go on this quest, and he can't talk his wife out of coming. She's going to come. Her maid kind of goes. She calls it a daft idea, and Graham kind of tests her a little bit. He's just like, "How dare you talk to your queen like that?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm nothing but a scullery maid. Please don't hurt me, son." He's just like, "Girl, I'm fucking with you." Everyone, chill the shit out.
And the dirt beneath your feet do not.
Yeah, you wouldn't raise your arm to break a cricket, would you? Oh, Lord. I'm coming to heaven, Jesus. It's that kind of thing. But we get that moment. Those are the exact words. Don't look it up. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, so they go to the stables to get their horses. The queen, he's seen her. This is a detail I thought was kind of funny and interesting. He's seen her wear side saddle, and he's seen her wear what they called a split skirt, which I assumed was like hammer pants, like where you put your legs together and it looks like a dress. But it's just it's a skirt that splits so you could ride. Right. But she's wearing pants, and it's kind of shocking to him. He's never seen her wear pants before. And he says, "Where did you get those pants?" And she said, "They're yours." So that tells you what kind of a slim-hipped young man Graham is.
He could share his clothing with his hot wife, who is actually taller than him.
Yeah.
So
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, she's hot and tall, and that's all you really need to know about.
Yeah, that's it. That's her whole personality, really.
Yeah.
And she's rich. She's hot, tall, and rich. Which is pretty good.
Yeah.
So they head out through the village outside of Daventry. They run into the seer, who is your standard issue default crazy old man speaking riddles.
You're like, "I'll have chicken legs and a yellow tail." Ooh.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's interesting, seer. Thank you for telling me.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's like, I am speaking of the now, not of the future.
Like,
yeah.
Neat.
And you're like, my name used to be Shithouse.
That's fun. That's a fun name. Is that French? And you humor him.
Good change.
It's a good change. God, I love that movie. You humor him because you figure he's got a sharpened toothbrush somewhere on him. He will stab you.
Richard Lewis. I forgot Richard Lewis died, and I got bummed out again. Yeah.
I remember when he died. He was one of my genuine. When he died, I really was like, he's still alive. Like
true.
I felt a little.
It was like, well, he's probably given him. He probably should have died a while ago, but no, he was still alive.
he was a wonderful man. He started to look like a real ghoul by the end of it. He wasn't the last 20 or 30 years of his life were not his hot period.
No.
Prince, Men in Tights is probably his hot period.
His peak.
Yeah.
So
they're riding out to the woods, and they are in the middle of a blizzard, and they have no idea where they're going. So they're following this elk rider whose name is it's like Jalilia. There's like extra eyes
the
and an
fairy
apostrophe.
names are optional. I'll say you don't have to try to say them if you don't want to.
I know it was right in front
they
of me.
are.
So
they're just a mess of.
It is a mess
of vowels in there.
It is. It's unnecessary. It's
vowels and apostrophes.
It's totally unnecessary. So that's chapter 5. Chapter 6, they start making their way to the woods. Really interesting detail because the fairy has magic that keeps the snow from the blizzard off of them, but does nothing for the cold and the wind, which I got a real kick out of because I was like, snow ain't your problem. Like,
no,
you're just trying to avoid getting wet, I suppose.
Yeah.
But that's hilarious. It's not really all that helpful. Which, if that's on purpose, is very appropriate because the Fae are they're pretty unhelpful.
They're largely unhelpful.
Honestly,
if this did not have climatological impacts, I would say that Graham shouldn't get involved because they're just really fucking annoying.
They're very annoying. Case in point, they make it to the old woods and they're going through it, and basically the instructions are like, follow me close because you guys are humans, and if you step off the path or go something, like, you will be gone forever. You will never find your way out of here. You will die here. Tight. So
great.
Yeah, they're doing that, and after that nice warning, our fairy friend starts whistling this tune, and the longer he whistles the tune, the more Graham starts to think, I'm doing great. This is awesome. I feel fantastic. It's like he's on Molly. Yeah. And at one point he suddenly is just like, I'm going to run off into the woods.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
My face. You ever touch my face?
Oh my God. You guys seen carpeting before? Holy shit. That actually probably would blow their minds in this world. So it's and Valanice like stops him or something. It's like it's very little people kind of, again, very dangerous Fae kind of thing. And you get another reminder basically how unsafe these things are. He wasn't gonna let him. We were only trying to drown her. It's that kind of thing. He wasn't going to necessarily let him go too far, but the fact that this guy has that much power over him just through dint of whistling is kind of insane.
Yeah.
We find out that Valanice has her name is very similar to a Fae word, which basically translates to, they were like, it's the word that means, that tells the grass to bend instead of standing up to the wind. It's the word's basically like common sense.
Yeah.
Like knowing when to give, knowing when to yield. Which kind of a mixed bag, that name. On one hand, it's like, you've got common sense. On the other hand, it's like, you're kind of a puss. Which, if you take it that way, she doesn't. She's actually kind of interested. She wants to learn more about the Fae language based on that. So this is a very important moment. They find the veil, basically. There's this part of the old woods that the fairy's like, okay, we're going to walk through here.
Right.
Maybe you can walk through here. Maybe you can't. You'll be tested. And he's talking to Graham specifically. He says, you're going to be tested. Your wife is so hot that the Force is just going to let her through.
She, like I'm going to tell you right now, your wife is a stone cold 10. And it's like the bouncer at a club who was only letting like women in, and
Right,
like
right.
you're there, and the bouncer's like, she can go in.
Yeah, yeah, she can. She's good, and
She
that's
can go in,
essentially
and
what he
she
says.
drinks for free.
Yeah, that's
You, on the other
essentially what he
hand,
says.
is
Actually,
double. You're paying double.
He's saying you might, and he says, Graham, you might. It might let you in. It might not. It's gonna test you. But if it doesn't let you in, you just stay the fuck right here.
Just
We'll be
stand right
back.
here.
Yeah, just stand right here. Don't go anywhere. Don't do anything. Do not masturbate behind a tree.
Yeah.
Don't do any of those things.
We can still see you, so
We
don't
can
do.
so okay, so maybe do it, but don't. And it's just it angers the owl bears.
And the bear owls.
Yeah, and the bear owls especially. Whose cum did I come from? For those of you who aren't listening to Rude Tales of Magic, I'm going back to it and re-listening to the first season. It's just every bit as good as I remember.
And Flip Cup.
Flip Cup. We'll die for Flip Cup. Just I'm part of Flip Cup's army.
Should I be killing people?
Yeah. So good. So we get to, so she doesn't even have to roll to save, basically going through this veil. So the fairy goes through, she goes through, and Graham starts to go through, and Graham starts to experience this, like, taking a step requires like all the willpower in the world for him. He's like gritting his teeth and forcing himself to get through. And this is the test I'm sure they were talking about. Fortunately, he's just so goddamn royal and stubborn, frankly, that he pushes his way through it, makes his way into this courtyard where there's the first fairy and his wife and this. It's the king. It's the king of the old wood.
The king of the old wood. The fairy, the fey king of the old wood.
Yeah, and he looks like he's 13 or 14 years old, but he carries himself in a different way, and we'll find out later that he's like old as shit, that he's like thousands of years old. But he just resembles a 13-year-old, which, okay, we'll just leave it at that. Yeah. And he introduces himself, and as he introduces himself,
there's some real problematic stuff in like anime with that.
Yeah, so, yeah. Think about it like that. Exactly.
She's actually thousands of years old, and be like,
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's like, but she's not real, is she?
we're moving on.
Moving on. That's pretty much it. And so as the introductions are being made, Graham passes out, and you're kind of led to think that this is an effect maybe from the test and everything like that. But as chapter 7 opens up, you find out that humans can't observe the king like directly. You can't look at him because his beauty and his glamour will cause you to pass the shit out. Valanice knew this, by the way. She already knew it. She was like, I should have told. I'm sorry. I'm sure
it told you, like, hot people can't, like, I'm hot and he's hot. We can look at each other, but you
hot people
can't look at him.
Hot people can look at each other, and it's fine. So it's the power of the king's beauty knocked Graham out
right on his
basically.
ass.
Yeah. So the king explains the situation to them. His wife, who is the queen of the Old Woods, she is basically the embodiment of spring, and since she has been kidnapped from her special courtyard hiding place, I guess, spring is gone, and it will stay winter. As the king says, like, well, maybe it'll stay for eons, maybe it'll change. I don't know, but but you guys will be dead. We'll be fine probably. But I miss my wife, and they're pretty frank about that. They're like, they even point out, they're like, we measure time in eons. We don't.
Right.
You guys have this limited little life. It's like they're making fun of mayflies, basically.
Our plans are measured in centuries.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, it's kind of smart because it's like, actually, I do want this done as fast as possible. What do? You hire someone who counts their age in seconds because chop. They're gonna
get on it. Like
they're gonna get on it.
We might like accidentally slip and like waste a few years just walking around and shooting the shit. But you guys,
But you guys, you don't have that luxury. So please take care of this for me. As he's explaining what happens, he tells them about like the imps. He basically gives them the info on chapter 1. The imps came in, killed a bunch of fairies, took my wife, and he brings in one of the fairy handmaidens who.
Most fucked up scene.
This is really brutal. He brings in the fairy handmaiden, and she like informs them on what happened. And he's like, "Yeah, and your mistress is gone, and a bunch of your friends are dead, and you're still alive. Seems kind of fucked up, right?" And she's like, "Totally fucked up. It totally." She's very.
My bad. Yeah, honestly, I should have died with them. And he's like, totally, "Well, that means you got to die too." But because you brought us this information. Instead, I'm just going to turn you into a vine, and you're just going to creep along the trees as a vine, and maybe my wife will turn you back.
Yeah, if she feels like it's worth it to her.
If she comes back alive, she might turn you back, and if she doesn't, you live as a vine and try to grow as best as you can. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
Right. It's pretty. And the thing is, the fairy's like, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. I get it. Thanks. She's basically Ralph Fiennes at the end of In Bruges. It's like, oh, you got to live by your right. Your code. Like,
I got to watch that again.
I haven't seen it in years. The one of the last books I read takes place almost entirely in Bruges, and
that's amazing.
I gotta read that again.
It's really picturesque.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that what they keep saying? Or I'm trying to remember what.
They just keep going on about how gorgeous it was, and Colin Farrell just couldn't give a shit. So basically, we get our quest. So the king himself, the king of the Old Wood, he can't leave the forest because he's the embodiment of the forest. So if he leaves the forest, it dies, he dies, everyone dies.
Right.
And any of the fae they all live within the Old Woods. The further away from the Old Woods they get, the weaker they become. And so they're basically useless at that point. So we need one of you humans who are just average, no matter where you are. That would be very helpful.
Yeah, and the character select screen, like there's no bonuses, but there's also no detriments. There's nothing really against them. It's
2-star power, 2-star speed, 2-star control. No big deal.
This human will get you where you want to go.
Exactly. So Graham's got to go save the queen, and in doing so, save his own kingdom. So we cut to a short chapter 8.
Oh, and one of the by the way, one of the things I just wanted to mention was that like he mentioned, so Valanice can't go with them, right?
Yes.
But also it mentions that like, oh yeah, by the way, we did like a time stop, so when you leave the veil, it'll be as like at the moment that you entered it, you'll leave the veil. And I was like, but had we not done this, it could have been like 100 years later when you cross the veil. And I was like, something about, so this is one of those things in science fiction. It really gets me existential and deep into my brain is when you talk time dilation. I always appreciate, like, the one thing I liked about the Dark Souls novel, if I'm giving it one thing, is the random time dilation that happened in that book, where it's like they go on a quest and they're in a city and they leave the city and 500 years have passed, even though no time, it was like a day had passed for them. And it's like, it was just like the time was just going all over the place. And time dilation in a fantasy setting like that is really fascinating, but also like it doesn't even happen here. But the fact that it's mentioned, I was like, oh,
Well, it's just one more example of how dangerous these people are.
Right.
The level of control they have. So it's like at one point, Graham thinks to himself, he's like, I don't really have much of a choice, not just for the sake of my own kingdom, but because like, what am I going to do? Tell these people no? Like this, it's out of my hands at this point. And it's true. These beings are incredibly powerful, which makes you wonder how some pissant little imps could come and steal the queen away. But
really
whatever,
makes you wonder how the imps just kind of like sauntered in there, smoke bombed the queen, and took her away.
Yeah. Singing "Where there's a whip, there's a way." They just like let themselves in, and it's but you know what? It's fine,
moving on. You know, you don't want to. We didn't think about that until just now.
So it's fine. It's fine.
Moving on.
So we cut to chapter 8, which brings us back to the Queen of Spring. She is in a cage, and the imps are basically forcing her to sing for them. So she sings sad songs for them, and they love it. They're thrilled. They have no. They're clearly not an artistic people, so the idea of any song at all is thrilling to them. Yeah. And we find out then now the imps are from a place called the Sorrowing Court, which I feel like the name in and of itself tells you everything you need to know.
Right.
Probably a pretty bummer-esque place. And she hears them talking about that they're going to take her to the Sorrowing Court to make it spring forever. So clearly what it is that they're sick of...
That's going to fuck up the wine.
Yeah. Oh God, big time. They haven't thought this through, and imps never do. If we're being honest with ourselves here, imps never do. I don't know why I'm surprised. So they're So we cut to chapter 9, and this is where they make their way to the edge of the woods, and this is where Graham's talking about, like, this seems like a small place, and they're like, yeah, I know, it seems like a small place. It's fucking huge though. It's you know, it's a telephone booth, so it's
bigger on the inside.
Bigger on the inside, exactly. So Graham is making his way towards the Glass Mountains, and he meets Shallan, he's a bard.
Yeah,
he's a bard, singing songs. They decide to team up, and as they go, it's a friendlier version of the Witcher TV show with the bard, he's just singing everywhere they go.
Now, in the book, it uses a term. In the book, it says minstrel. Now,
it does, yes.
I would refer to him as a bard because minstrel has two, like, the connotations with the word minstrel.
In our
even though
country,
that is like quote unquote technically they are correct.
Oh yeah.
It's got the problem is minstrel has definition number dos. Definition number 2 is really fucking bad. So we'll just stick with bard.
We'll stick with bard and that's specific to our country. I don't know if that.
I don't know about anywhere else, but in the United States, it's not like necessarily quote unquote the best.
I come from.
Phil comes from the South, where
and my granddad performed in those.
Oh, so, no!
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I come.
Is this on the Colonel's side?
No, actually.
Oh, okay.
No, it's from the side you wouldn't expect it from.
Okay.
So
carry on.
Yeah. Fair enough. So they're moving. We get some nice rapport building with them. He's singing songs, and after a while, Graham recognizes the chorus and he's singing along with him. It's very nice. Finally, they end up at a river, and there is a ferry there that crosses the river, and it is but it is just swarmed.
Ferry,
with imps.
Ferry.
Yes, yeah, different ferry. Ferryman. So yeah, but the area is swarmed with imps. So chapter 10 opens with them kind of like the bard is like, are these the ones you're looking for? And he goes like that, because that would be
super easy, you know.
That'd be a one and done kind of situation. It is not, as far as Graham can tell anyway, because he can't see the kidnapped queen.
Yeah.
And besides, they are but they listen and they hide and they listen in, and the imps are arguing with the ferryman, saying because there are 10 of them, and they paid for 12, and there should be 2 more. And it tells you something about the imps. Like, it makes me think of like goblins and Warhammer and stuff, where they don't even really.
But we paid for 12.
Yeah,
we paid for 12. Only 10.
But they don't say like Bob and Mac are over on the other side. Like, no, they're just like, there should be two more of us. Like, it's they don't really know each other.
Yeah, the imps are. That's right. The imps are really closer to goblins in a lot of other, like, I would say Warhammer or Dungeons and Dragons or whatever. Because they're less concerned with the actual uniqueness of the other goblins and just, more
it's their numbers.
About their numbers. Which is going back to Rude Tales is a huge thing in Rude Tales of Magic as they get further into the campaign and dealing. And there's like goblin characters and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's a
really neat detail.
It's a good moment. Yeah.
Yeah. And and the ferryman's like, well, I don't see those guys over there. And they're like, okay, well then you owe us 2 fares. He's like, no refunds. And reveals this, like, we don't get a lot of detail, but it's like a blue muzzle that's clearly his mouth, filled with razor sharp teeth.
Yeah.
And they're
like a knot deer or something like that. Or
yeah. And the imps are like, oh, this isn't fucking worth it. And they beat feet. They get the hell out of there. So Graham and Shallan, I think, Shallan, approach the ferryman. And they say, how much to go across? And ferryman's like, what do you got? And in a very King's Quest game moment, Graham has a ring. And he says, how about this? And the ferryman says, yeah, sure, that'll do it. And he goes, and I'd like the answer to a question, please. And they're like, okay, fine, that'll buy you an answer. So they're traveling across the river, and Graham asks he says, because basically through the conversation you find out, the conversation the imps had with the ferryman, you find out they were trying to escape the Sauron court. They are not cool with everything that's going on there. They want to get the hell out. So we know that where we want to go is on the other side of the river. So we want to go where they just left. So as they're crossing, Graham says, other imps must have come by here and they had a woman with them. Do you remember that? And Ferryman's like, oh yeah, totally.
That happened.
That happened. That totally happened. And he tries to get some more questions at him. Ferryman's like, nope.
You didn't pay for that.
You didn't pay for that. Tough shit.
And it's like, you get the real impression, like, don't push this guy. No.
He's not a ferryman by choice. He got kicked out of some place for doing awful things. So
he is like fucking cursed to do this or something.
Exactly.
Don't push him.
The gods did this. It's not great. So they make their way across. And they're in this thorny wood area, and it's an interesting detail. Basically, everywhere you go, you're getting stabbed by the thorns. There's nothing you can do, no matter how careful you are. You're getting stuck with thorns, and Graham is just sick of it. And they set up camp. And Shallan is singing. So we get this moment where Shallan sings these sad songs that Graham relates with in one way or the other. It like makes him think of his wife or something like that. And he weeps. And he's telling him, like, you have got to stop singing these songs. I'm a king. I can't be made to
crying.
At this, which makes me think that there might be more to Shallan than
and Shallan was like, you know what? It tells me you're a good guy. That you're able to. You're not some psychopath that is just has no emotion. You're in touch with your feelings, which is honestly the best assessment of Graham as you can get. I would say Graham is like the Superman of point and click games, not because he's invincible or anything like that, but because he's just led by this unshakable moral code. He's about as lawful good as it gets. So that's a pretty good assessment of the situation. So as they're sitting there, Shallan is singing and Graham is trying to burn some sticks without stabbing himself. We hear these two voices demanding that the bard sing again. Sing again. Sing for me.
Yeah. And Shallan just hits the high note. And so. And then Graham comes in with a guitar solo, just wee.
My angel of music.
It's a very different book, but I think would be worth writing.
Did you know that there was a sequel to Phantom of the Opera?
Oh yes.
Oh
yes.
gosh, I was listening to something
bad.
Yeah, I was listening to something with Jesse Cox in it. It was either one of his podcasts or Scary Game Squad or something, and he says to the other guys, like, "Did you know that there was a sequel to the Phantom of the Opera?" And
Love Never Dies.
And they're like, "What? No." And he goes, "Yeah, it's atrocious." And I forget what his greater point was. He was like making a reference to what was happening on the screen.
If you get a chance, Lindsay Ellis made a video about it. The play is called Love Never Dies, and Lindsay Ellis is this dyed-in-the-wool fandom fanatic.
Yeah.
And it is a hilarious and very insightful video. It was I thought
it's like the play is about like a friend of Christine who is obsessed with the story or something like that. Or
no. It's about Christine and her husband and their kid. Come to America. They've come to New York City, and that's where the Phantom is for some reason. And you find out somehow that the kid is the Phantom's kid because one time, in a moment that we were never told about, they banged just one time, and so and the kid like plays chopsticks, and so the Phantom's like, he's a genius. He must be my kid, and it's.
Wow.
Very stupid.
I like that collectively. I listen off and on. Like, okay, so story time. I had a Jeep Grand Cherokee that I was like, my dad had given it to me because he got a new car, and that was the car that I drove in college.
I love those cars.
And it had a CD player, but the CDs weren't loaded in the console. They were loaded in the trunk. Like there's like a rack where you put in 6 CDs and you closed it up, and it was read from like the trunk or something like that. And it was the original cast album of Phantom of the Opera. So like it was always in my head. Like the
Michael
songs.
Crawford, man, you gotta
of course.
Yeah.
What's her name? Who was Christine?
Sarah Brightman.
Sarah Brightman. That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Phantom of the Opera, it's something that I've listened to 1,000 times at this point, right? I just like collectively that nobody really talks that much about Love Never Dies to the point where it's somebody like me who has heard the original so many times was like 40 years old before he actually heard of the atrocious sequel to Phantom of the Opera.
You're absolutely right. That is how little people gave a shit or are actively angry about it.
And what's funny is because I'm assuming like, so it was written by Andrew Lloyd Webber, right? It was the sequel.
Oh yeah. All the originals. So
the play Phantom of the Opera is still based on Phantom of the Opera. It's just like the structure of the story was kind of there, and it's
based on something that exists.
It's based on existing property, and Love Never Dies is like, to me, it sounded like a fan fiction continuation.
Well, I'm telling you, watch that video I mentioned because there's a whole background with Andrew Lloyd Webber paying some author to write the sequel for it, and the guy ends up just writing as a novel, and Andrew Lloyd Webber isn't exactly happy with it, and it's a whole thing. It's hilarious.
It wasn't Alan Dean Foster, was it?
No, I'm afraid not. I wish we aren't that lucky. That would be amazing. Get him on the horn.
We would get Alan back on the show and be like, wait a minute,
just for a bonus Phantom episode. That would be amazing. Oh my God. I bet he would probably do a good job with that, though. So that's the trouble. You can't hire someone who's talented.
Yeah,
that's dangerous. Anyway, real quick, because we're almost done. We're almost out. They're camping out. So the voices that are demanding they sing for them are these 2 giant spiders. Big surprise. And they are and so Shallan's like, oh, giant, yeah, I'll sing, sure, and sings them happy songs because they're like, yeah, we want to hear happy songs. So he sings them some happy songs, and the spiders basically say, well, you remember those 2 imps that were missing from the dozen imps at the fair? We ate those guys, so we're pretty full. And since you sang for us, we're gonna let you go. And Graham's like, you know what? If everything goes well, I'm going to have to pass through here on my way back. So when I do that, I'm going to need to make sure you guys are well fed, right? And they're like, "Yep, that would be smart. That would be a good thought.
Have some food in your inventory when you come back around this way."
Yeah, make that happen, and you'll probably be fine. It's so and they leave, and in what I can only assume is Graham and Shallan like bringing their bedrolls up to their nose and like looking right and looking left for at least an hour before finally falling asleep.
Right.
They make camp and they sleep. It's just after that moment, you're like, what if they change their mind? No, well, I mean, I'm dead no matter what.
Yeah, well, giant spiders.
And that's as far as we're going tonight. So that's the first 10 chapters of Kingdom of Sorrow. Kevin, what do you think so far?
I like it. I like it a lot more than the other King's Quest book we read. It's got some stakes. It's got some. I feel like the way Graham is written in this is a more compelling character than Alexander was in the other one.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, here's an inciting incident and a very specific thing. I mean, the other one had that too, but it was kind of just like weird. Like, there's a floating castle and people have been kidnapped and blah, 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 blah. It was like a little too, this is like, well, the Queen of the Fairies has been kidnapped and Spring will never come back, as long as that's true. So go chase down these imps that got her. Pretty straightforward, and you're going to run into crazy, kooky characters along the way. Straight up fantasy, sword, sorcery type stuff but light on the sword and or sorcery. But I'm enjoying it so far. It's fine.
I agree. It's an easy read. It's laid back, but I think the most important thing is that unlike the first book, this one really feels like it's source material.
Sure.
Which is very old school Victorian kind of fairy tale inspired.
Right.
And that's and right off the bat you get that. So I'm right there with you. I think it's pretty good. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, now that we've covered that, Kevin, I only have one question that I'm legally obligated to ask you.
Yes.
What are you playing?
Oh, okay. I was not ready for this.
I know I'm springing this on you.
All right, so I had to double check just to make sure, but I finished since we last were on the show. I finished mouthwashing. Now I've texted you about it relentlessly because it's been in my brain.
That one hit you.
That one hit me.
Yeah.
Mouthwashing, folks. If you haven't played mouthwashing, go ahead, do yourself a favor and get mouthwashing. It is a horror game, but it's in a category of horror where I wouldn't call it like. It's very psychological horror, right?
Yes.
It plays a lot with nonlinear storytelling to eke out maximum impact for the twists and turns in the story.
100%.
But it follows the few days before and the months after a freighter called the Tulpar crashes into a giant asteroid out in space, as it is like 2/3 of the way through its journey to deliver something to another planet, right? So there's 5 characters. There's the captain Curly. There's his co-pilot Jimmy. There's the nurse who is a dead ringer for Shelley Duvall.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that. That is absolutely Shelley Duvall, no question.
Yeah, it's intentional too.
Is it? Okay,
yes.
good. That's good to know.
Dead ringer Anya, and then there's Daisuke, who is the intern working for the engineer named Swansea, who is just like this gruff and burly dude who is just, he's had it up to here with everything.
Yeah, these young punks.
But the way the game, it's only a 2.5 hour game, so I don't want to give away too much. But the way the game takes you through narrative twists and turns, but also the themes of really wild themes of responsibility, grief, guilt, and something that I see some people that don't necessarily bring up, and I'll probably talk to you once we're done recording, because it's why I think this is forgiveness. There's some meat on the bone there about the nature of forgiveness that is not as overt as some of the other thematic elements, but goddamn, it's a good game. It's by the people who made How Fish Is Made, which I didn't play, but I watched Jacob Geller make a video. Geller made a video on it.
It's great. Oh, wow. It's great. I don't know what the fuck they were trying to do with it, but I loved it.
Yeah. And I'm really interested in what these guys have next, because between How Fish Is Made and to this, the level of abstraction is decreased to so How Fish Is Made is very abstract, right? You're going through it's weird. I can't even really begin to describe it. Whereas this is a little bit more straightforward in terms of what it's representing. It's not straightforward in how the story is told, but it's real characters dealing with real concrete
less
issues.
Surrealist.
It's less surrealist and more, but still very weird in how it tells the story. So finished mouthwashing, love mouthwashing. It's definitely going to be in my towards the top of my list. Close to Balatro.
Right up there.
Right up there. So yeah, mouthwashing. What else I've been playing is I've been playing some more UFO 50. I finally got the gold on Ninpek, which
I don't think I've played Ninpek yet.
Yeah, it's an auto scroller where you're a little ninja dude throwing shurikens.
Yeah. I have played that. Never mind.
Yeah, it took me. It was funny as I set the high score on the game without beating it. And then I finally got around to actually beating it. So Ninpek and a few other games, I'm I'm back in there trying to get some more gilded and cherried discs. And otherwise, Sorry We're Closed.
Okay. This one is one I'm a little intrigued by. Tell me more about this.
So Sorry We're Closed is a horror game, but it is very, very gay, super gay, and delightfully so. You play a character, I think her name is Michelle, who has been not recently, it's been a few years since she was dumped by her girlfriend, who has gone on to become a big, successful actress. And she's just kind of been stuck in a rut, basically, for the past couple of years. And then she is approached by a demon who is what would you like? And you're like, love. And the demon's like, well, you're going to love me then. And you're going to marry me. And you've been cursed. So now you're cursed to have a third eye, and you're able to see between the real world and the veil of the demon world. and you're like, it's really neat. It's so people have said it's like Killer 7.
Okay. Which I need to play. I got gifted that last year.
Yeah,
it's in our Secret Santa, and I need to play that.
Yeah, it is very much like Killer 7. It goes from a third like fixed camera as your like a Resident Evil style fixed camera as you're walking around areas, to when you're attacking, it switches to first person. And one of the neat things is like when you have your third eye closed, you'll see like just like the body of the demon, right? But when you have your third eye open, you can see their weak points. And with the third eye open, the only thing you can hit is the weak points. So it's easier to hit them with your third eye closed, but you're doing less damage. With your third eye open, you can shoot them in these weak points designated by these like heart logos. And you do a lot more damage, and you fill up this meter for a gun that you have called the Heartbreaker. And because there's some demons that don't die, right? When you kill them, like you hit all their weak points, you get rid of their health, and they fall down and they're like unconscious, right? But if you shoot them with the Heartbreaker, they're dead permanently. So it's like, it's Killer 7. It's what else? What's it? Paradise Killer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's Killer 7. The vibes remind me a bit of Paradise Killer. Definitely not the same style, like gameplay. Just vibes wise, I get Paradise Killer energy from it. Gayness, queerness wise, I get Paradise Killer. But yeah, no, I'm really enjoying. I feel like sometimes the interstitial moments, like there's long moments between missions where you're like talking to other characters, and you can talk to characters and take on certain side quests and things like that. And you're not really sure sometimes, like, should I have taken that side quest on? Is that going to be a good thing later on? My only critique so far is sometimes these interstitial moments between missions where you're just kind of like wandering around talking to people feels like it could go on for a little bit too long. Sure. But still, it's a really neat game.
Nice.
So yeah, Sorry We're Closed is the game. And it's very, very cool.
That looks really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what it is? It's also a game that the still photos don't really do it justice. It's a game that looks a lot better in motion than it does from like screenshots. For some reason, because when I first saw the screenshots, I was like, I don't know. But then once I got into the game, I was like, okay, this feels better than just the stills looked. So Phil, what are you playing?
Well, I am also still stuck in UFO 50. My play hours are up to 55.
You are getting dangerously close to passing me.
It's
FYI.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I believe last episode I talked about the caveman game. I gilded that one. I'm currently working on. I'm just terrible at looking at the titles of these games for the most part, so I'm just going to describe it. I'm currently working on a game. It's this really neat puzzle game where you have these demons coming into like a puritanical looking town, and you have different bombs you can place, and
the whole
Devilition, thank you. And the bombs each bomb has a different pattern, and you have a limited amount of them. And the whole point is you only have one chance to detonate, so you're trying to do that once.
Just try to create a chain reaction.
Exactly, that will kill off as many of them as possible. And if you have fewer demons than villagers, then you've succeeded. It's super addictive. I really, really like it. I'm also working my way through Camouflage, which makes me think a lot of the old Lolo games on NES. Similar kind of vibe. You're a little lizard, and your whole all that you can do is change your color based on the tiles you're over, and it's a puzzle thing where you're trying to make sure that you pick the right tiles to change your color over before you get eaten by crabs or whatever else.
Right.
Super fun. Really, really enjoying that one too. It's just more examples of how these games really resemble old style Nintendo games. But have this fresh coat of modern paint on them that those games in the 80s couldn't possibly have had. And I'm really enjoying that. There's some mind fuckery that goes with that, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I played a couple of demos. Very briefly played a demo called Tiny Bookshop, which is one of these very it's cute. It's very twee, a very casual game. You are you have a little mobile bookshop, and you're in this little Stars Hollow style kind of small town, and you're meeting people and finding out what everyone likes, and you're trying to keep.
Is Lorelai there?
Not yet. She will be. She can't resist me. But you're trying to keep keep stocked with the right books and that kind of thing. And it's very casual, very laid back. I don't know if I would buy it, but it's honestly a very relaxing demo. So it's worth looking at if that appeals to anyone that I'm mentioning this to. I also played the demo for Little Goody Two Shoes. This is interesting. This is a game. It's like a horror anime RPG kind of thing. You play this girl who lives out on the outskirts of this kind of medieval looking village and everything, and you are being you basically find this girl who has been hiding in your shed, and you're forcing her to do work, and you're being accused of being a witch, and it's super gay, and you can romance villagers, but you have to keep their suspicion down because you are a witch. Let's face facts.
Yeah.
But it's also got these interesting levels of horror to them. It's a strange game in the sense that I don't know whether I'm coming or going with it. Like it doesn't. You don't know what's going on half the time.
It's
not in a bad way.
It's published by Square Enix.
Yes, it is. It's published by them. It was written by a team that had this breakout RPG Maker game that came out some time back.
It's very Pocket Mirror.
Yeah, that's the one. Pocket Mirror. It's a very complex kind of thing. It is not for me. I will say that. But it's very special. It's gorgeous, first and foremost. I don't care who you are. You look at it's beautiful. And it's more than just like, fancy pixel art. It's beautifully done. The voice acting's pretty good. The character designs are nice. It just didn't grab me. Sure. But I feel like this is going to be. I feel like we're going to hear more about this next year because I haven't heard much about it this year. And I feel like after the dust settles with all the games that have come out in this last quarter of the year, this might be one that people will come back to next year.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see some think pieces on it or something like that. And finally, I just randomly watched some kid's YouTube video about the horror elements of Arkham Asylum, and on a whim downloaded that and played through about an hour of that.
Nice.
I needed that old feel. Oh, it's still so good, man.
Yeah,
it's still so good. It holds up beautifully. Really, and just it's one of those things you can hop right back into.
Right.
So having fun with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's me. That's me.
Awesome. Yeah. So also, by the way, I know we haven't spoken of it yet. It's not. I've bought it, but I haven't played it yet. Rise of the Golden Idol is on my.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
On my playlists, so I'll get back around to that. You're a Golden Idol. You liked the Case of Golden.
Oh, right? I thought it was weird and beautiful and good. Yes, I loved that one.
So Rise of the Golden Idol is out. I mean, there's other games coming out soon that are I'm interested in. The Indiana Jones game looks like it's going to be
Is
fun.
that coming out in December?
Yep. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones and I think I still feel like there's a few other things that are coming out in December, but also if for those who are interested, Stalker 2 is out.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool.
So, that's all good stuff. But that'll do it for tonight's episode. If you can, go ahead and follow us over on Blue Sky. Best way to hear stuff from me and Phil.
Man, am I having fun over there?
Yeah.
I am having so much fun on Blue Sky. It's great.
It is the best of Twitter, and like the right-wing chuds tend to get blocked and leave the platform pretty quickly. Andrew Tate got banned after one day. The quartering already perma-banned.
Fuck the quartering and everyone who looks like the quartering. Fuck the quartering. Beautiful. Beautiful.
So, follow us on Blue Sky. Search Pixelit will come up. Pixelitpod.com is the actual name that you can find us on. Or come to our Patreon, join our Discord. All that is good ways to connect with us.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So that'll do it.